What's up guys, and welcome back to Pop Beat Breakdowns. In today's beat breakdown video, we're doing an Olivia Rodrigo vampire type beat that I recently made for my beat store. I'm going to break the song down for you in the hope that you hopefully learn something from this video that you can apply to your own productions, whether you're trying to make a beat in the style of Olivia Rodrigo or this song specifically, or if you're just trying to learn something new from this video, then I highly recommend you stick around to the end and of course smash the subscribe button as well if you are new to the channel to make sure you never miss a future video like this. So let's get into Logic and let's have a listen to the beat that we're breaking down today. Okay, so as always, the project is in Logic, but don't worry if you are not a Logic user, because you can definitely find similar sounds to this in stock plugins and different DAWs as well, because as I always say, all DAWs do the exact same thing, but today there will be some plugins which are just solely to Logic. So if you're a Logic user, then hopefully you find this even more helpful. So today, let's firstly listen to what it is that we're breaking down. So yeah, let's have a quick listen to this Olivia Rodrigo vampire type beat. So this is actually a very simple production how it's put together, and the one thing as well about Olivia Rodrigo is a really nice blend between piano, ballad and almost pop rock influence when you listen to the actual production itself. So we're going to keep that in mind when we are making our productions like this. Now, as you always know on the channel, I always like to break down the beats from top to bottom. This is how everything was added, so you get the best sense of how this production was put together. And today we are starting from the drums. So today for the drums, we are using the Contact 7. We use the 80s drum. Now, I absolutely love this. It's the 80s Abbey Road, and I bought this recently, and these have some absolutely great sounds in them when it comes to drums. I use these in a lot of my beats, so I highly recommend that if you're looking for some VST drum software, look no further than the Abbey Road drummer, and more specifically for this one, the 80s drummer. So I'm just going to keep playing the beat because you all know how to, hopefully at this point, if you're watching videos on the channel, make a drum beat. So this is the drum beat that I've come up with, and obviously, as always, very important to put it into a track stack, because by putting it in a track stack means you can have more control over the mix on the output. Very simple drum beat. And then just some fills here at the end. One really important little trick is you've got to imagine how a real drummer would play it. So one thing I like to do is always make sure that the hi-hats are cut off when it comes to doing the fills, because you're not going to have a drummer playing hi-hats and doing fills at the same time typically. So to make drums sound more real, make sure you're doing this by the way. So that is basically the drums. Very simple but very effective. Now again, as I said, there's a real piano ballad influence to this song. So the first thing I actually laid down if we go to start the song was the piano. So today for the piano, we as always using Contact, and we're using the Maverick and the Jazzy piano preset, or the Jazzy Maverick rather. I love this. It's one of my favorite presets on the Maverick, and yeah, this is what it came up with. We've got two channels, one doing the main chords and the second one just doing something a little bit lower down in the octave, almost covering the bass. You will notice the chord pattern is actually the same as Vampire. Very nice chord pattern though. Very edgy, I love it. So yes, that's the piano with that. So when you play it with the drums, you get this really nice blend of sort of like almost high intensity, what's going to be pop rock, and then the piano ballad rather of, yeah, the ballad influence. So yeah, so it's really starting to come together. Now next I used the Solid Soul electric bass. This is a Logic preset bass, and we're just using a running bass line here to really start adding a little bit more energy to the rhythm section. Yeah, again, keeping it really simple at the moment, because now we're building almost what is a band production. So it's really easy to follow the blueprint rather. I can't speak today. So next we're going on to the guitars. Now I've used the electric sunburst, and I found this really good straightforward B muted pattern which I wanted to use, because again, we're really starting to build the energy here. So at this point I'm just listening to the bass line and trying to build the guitars around it. So this is the first guitar loop that I found. Getting the undecided if it's pop rock or pop punk, but again, then I builded it with this as well. Sounds great. That's what I love about Native Instruments. They do very good guitar VSTs. And then I think I'll just play them all together. So this is all the guitar loops that we got. just a couple of little bit of varieties here. I think one of them is a little bit, here we go, that one. A little static to add a little bit more emphasis on the starting notes. And then this one's more of a strum pattern. But when you blend them all together, that's how you get this nice, massive, big wall. So when you start to play it from the start, what we've got so far, you get almost already what sounds like a complete production. And then I did want to add a little bit of development later in the song, so that's when I come up with this little guitar riff here, which you're about to hear, which I just thought was a nice little addition, again, for that keyword development. I think also, by the way, these plugins, the native instruments, they do a very good job of emulating what's almost real guitar. So I'm a guitarist and I play guitar, but I always find myself going back to these plugins because it's easy, it's quick, but it also sounds great as well, and involves a lot less mixing than actually recording the electric guitar in, finding the right plugins, amps, and putting it all together. So this is actually a really easy way. So if you don't play guitar especially, I highly recommend you check them out. We have the electric vintage, you have the electric sunburst, and you have the electric mint. They're free native instrument VSTs for electric guitar. All of them very good. I've got all three of them. All of them work really well together because some have some samples which others don't. So when you have all three of them together, it creates this all-round epic guitar sample library which you can have at your disposal. So it's really cool. Now, moving on from that, we're going to the strings now because, again, kind of tying a little bit more into the piano ballad aspect and thinking more to driver's license as well. There's definitely a lot of strings which make Olivia Rodrigo's productions a little bit more dramatic, and I love that. So I wanted to add strings in here. So this is this little string section I've come up with. Very simple. A little bit edgy. And I wanted it to be edgy because there's a little bit of suspense in this song and throughout. So how you can create the suspense is through the strings, having some notes really close together, keeping it a little bit clashy. Now, for these strings today, we're actually not using Omnisphere, which if you watch my channel a lot, you know I like to use. We're using the session strings too, and we just got a couple of different things that we've got going on here. As I've said, like the individual melodies recorded in, a couple of different melodies, a couple of different chords. This is covering the low end. And when you put it all together, you get an Olivia Rodrigo vampire type beat. So yeah guys, that was the beat breakdown for today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that subscribe button and the like button on this video, and also comment below what other type beats you want me to make and break down in future videos. But yeah guys, thank you if you made it this far. Thank you so much for watching. Keep making music, and I will see you in the next video.